sock show. I'm the Trev. It's too sweet. Anyway, we're here. It's time I actually started eating some of that crow. We're going to react to my division predictions. We do this every year, and this is a quick disclaimer, and I say this every time. These are just my predictions. Please don't take them to Vegas. And you'll see why. Especially since we're starting with the Atlantic Division. I'll explain myself, but either way, let's react to my division predictions. So if you want to re-educate yourself on my picks, before I actually start reacting to my picks, it's right there. Just follow the link. But if you want to skip watching it, stick around. I'll go over my picks right now. If you remember, my picks went a little bit something like this, starting from worst to best. I picked the Canadiens to finish 8th in the Atlantic. Had the Sabres finishing at 7th. Then I picked the Bruins to finish 6th. I know, let's laugh it up now. Then I picked the Senators to finish 5th. I picked Detroit to finish 4th. Picked Toronto to finish 3rd. Picked Florida to finish 2nd, which meant I picked Tampa to win the Atlantic Division. And, well, here's how it actually turned out. The only one I actually got right was Montreal, followed by Detroit, who finished 7th. Then Ottawa, so I almost had them. Buffalo finished 5th. Florida finished 4th. Tampa didn't win the division at all, but that's okay, neither did Toronto. And Boston, well, not only didn't they win the division, they also won the President's Trophy and did a whole bunch of other stuff along the way that we will discuss in a separate video. But that's how the Atlantic shaped out to be compared to how I predicted it to be. So, like I said, the fact that I only got one right, and it was the last team in the division, should tell you all about how my predictions go, but let's break it all down. Let's see if we can't make any sense out of all this. So, for the Canadiens, the rebuild continues. So, it wasn't hard to put them 8th. I mean, yeah, there's the injury bug, which, took out Caulfield and Slavkovsky. Honestly, I didn't think Slavkovsky was going to make the team, but he did. Not that it really made any difference. Until they fixed that problem in net that was really left wide open by Carey Price, they're going to be stuck near the bottom for a long while, and I just don't know how much patience is going to be required in Montreal for that, but for next year, I don't want to go ahead and say, well, they'll make leaps and bounds of a difference, because it's really hard to say if they will or not. But either way, I'm more than happy I picked that the Montreal Canadiens were going to finish 8th in the Atlantic and not someone else, because that would have just made me look really, really bad. So Detroit finishing 7th, that actually does kind of say, well, that shouldn't be a complete surprise. I thought you thought I was going to say that surprised me, but no, it didn't. I mean, I honestly thought they were going to at least make a push to keep Bertuzzi, not trade him to Boston. Boston plays in the same division with you, but it's not to say Detroit's licked. I think they're still going to be a competitive team in the next year or so. But this year just felt like a giant step backwards for Detroit, really. I mean, there are some aspects of them that are really still exciting to watch, but at the same time, until they mature and start getting a lot better as a team, they're almost borderline dead things. But that's a different video for a different time, I'm sure. But yeah, there was your 7th place team. So Senators finished 6th. I had them finishing 5th. I thought with the addition of Giroux and DeBrincat, it would have made them a lot more of a threat of a team. And near the end of the season, they were really making a strong push to be in a playoff team. But unfortunately, the numbers caught up, as they always do with every team under that wild card line. But definitely things are looking up for Ottawa. And I would expect next season they make that push towards that playoff line again. And who knows, they might even squeak in. I mean, their core guys are actually going to start developing and maturing into the players they're going to hopefully round out to be for the next couple of years. So keep your fingers crossed, Senators fans. Your time's probably coming sooner than you think. Sabres finished 5th. I had them finishing 7th. I honestly thought it was going to be another case of, oh, we're in Buffalo, we're at least playing in the NHL, but we're going to suck, try and get, the first overall pick. But that wasn't even the case. Not with Dahlin, not with Power really starting to get a lot more comfortable on their roles, if you will. And Tage Thompson, well, oh Jesus, I honestly thought he was going to be a 50-goal scorer, at least a 100-point scorer, but we at least know now that he's capable of that kind of a offensive threat of a number. So something to look forward to for next season. Do I stand by my earlier statement in that video where next season you'll see Buffalo in the playoffs? I think they're one or two good moves away from making that happen. So it'll be interesting to see what they do in the offseason if they make that one or two moves to make that happen. Either way, on the defensive end, yeah, Buffalo's getting really, really scary. On the offensive end, if you can find more guys to complement Thompson, you're gold, guaranteed. But that's next season. Panthers finished 4th. Almost didn't make the playoffs. I had them finishing 2nd. Who would have thought changing out a Huberdeau for a Tkachuk would have made a world of difference, but it almost cost them a playoff spot. I mean, yeah, but Tkachuk still got you 100 points. I mean, Gaudreau didn't get that 100 points in Calgary, but we'll talk about Calgary when we get there, right? But the fact that they made the playoffs in the last week of the season, from winning the President's Trophy the season before, I mean, yeah, there was no way they were going to catch up to first place. Who were we kidding, right? But would have thought for sure they would have been pushing 2nd or 3rd, at least a lot harder than what ended up happening in 2nd and 3rd. Either way, I mean, being a wild card team and going against the Bruins, well, it could be a quick playoff run for those Panthers. But we'll see. Playoffs is a completely different beast, no matter who you are. Tampa Bay Lightning finishing 3rd when I had them winning the division. My thought behind putting them first, or picking them to finish first, was going to be that competitive edge. They just lost the Stanley Cup for the first time in 3 years. They're going to come back with a vengeance, win the division, steamroll everybody in the Stanley Cup Finals. Well, I mean, they didn't steamroll everybody so far. I can't even say they haven't come back with a vengeance, but they haven't been the same Tampa Bay Lightning that we're used to seeing for the last 3-4 years. So it'll be interesting to see where they go in the playoffs, but overall, it wasn't a disappointment of a season by any means in Tampa. I mean, they still made it to the playoffs. They were still a hard team to play. But again, we'll see. It'll be an interesting ride in the playoffs for them, see where they go. So then you had Toronto finishing 2nd when I had them finishing 3rd. This is the do or die season for them, is it not? I mean, if they don't get past the first round in these playoffs, what's that say for Sheldon Keefe? What's that say for Kyle Dubas? What's that say for Austin Matthews, Mitch Marner? I mean, it's probably not even a well-conceived notion that a guy like Ryan O'Reilly is staying in Toronto, because he's probably not. I imagine he'll be making good money somewhere else in the offseason. But the fact that Matthews' contract is coming up after the end of next season, and Marner's probably going to go wherever Matthews goes. If they don't get past that first round, oh my goodness, it's going to be a huge shakeup in Toronto, I guarantee it. But we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Either way, yeah, there was no way they were going to finish first, no matter who predicted it, because it just wasn't going to happen. Which, of course, meant the Boston Bruins win the Atlantic Division, and I had them finishing 6th. And not only did they win the Atlantic Division, they won the Eastern Conference. They won the President's Trophy as the league's best record, and it wasn't even a doubt. 65 wins, 135 points. I don't want to delve too much into everything they accomplished, because like I've said before, I'm making a separate video for that. The reason I picked them 6th, and I'm not going to get too much into the spoilers on here, I thought Jim Montgomery as a new head coach was going to be a wild card. I thought with Marchand and with DeBrusque being injured at the beginning of the season, I thought they were going to be out a lot longer than what they were. I didn't think Ullmark was the right choice in net, but again, I don't want to give away too much. Either way, that was a dumb pick for me to pick them to go 6th. It was fun to watch them play this season, though, let me tell you. You know, just the whole chase to history, that's the part that made it fun. So you can never complain about that. But that's my rundown of how my predictions turned out and my thinking behind some of the picks I made. Let me know how you did on your division predictions. At the same time, feel free to laugh at mine, because mine were ridiculous. So much as hockey shows. I want to thank you for tuning in. Don't think I don't appreciate the gesture, especially if you've made it to this point. It's a great thing. My algorithms thank you for it. So while you're here, feel free to say hi. Give me a thumbs up. Dig what I'm doing. You know, I've earned it. That red button that says subscribe all over it. We're still going for 250. So let's still make that happen. Hit that red button. It'll make you feel good. The social I never use, it's in the description down below. So I have 3 more divisions to go over. And I'll probably be doing only 5 videos tonight, the more I think about it. But either way, in the meantime, in between time, be looking for more videos from Trev. Data.